Okay, welcome. The work behind your workload. I would definitely invite questions throughout any of this. Don't hesitate to interrupt me. This is intentionally not a 400 level talk. It's also not an AI talk, but because it's 2026 and we can do nothing without AI, a Claude skill behind the scenes is going to work our Mad Lib, talk to Bedrock, and hopefully inject that into the slides.
Oh, nice.
Unless we hit the rate limiting issues that were happening 10 minutes ago. We'll see. Okay, real quick, tell me about a couple workloads we have. Yours or your clients, whatever they are. 2 to 5 words.
Measuring email attachments.
Okay, in size or
Yeah, in
quality?
size.
Okay.
In size.
Measuring email attachments. Anybody else? Calculating property taxes. The sexiest of workloads, I should say. Okay. Very good. So what we'll walk away with today, and I'll make these bigger in a second. When building on AWS, what is the total common landscape? I can't give you the total landscape because it's immense. But for most of the workloads, what's that total landscape we need to think about? And for each of those areas, what does it give you? And conversely, if you skip it, what does it cost you? All right, let's check in on our buddy Claude here. Okay, it's still grinding. So you go to buy your first car. You budget 25 grand, and then what happens? Okay, reality sets in. There's registration, there's tires, there's insurance, all these other things. This one you can't see yet. The MASH, TV show MASH, anybody? Okay. What if there never was a MASH? Our poor buddy Alan Alda instead would have had to have starred in ALF. We'll see that in a minute. Still grinding. Okay, did you know this? For every one combat role in the US Army, there's roughly 5 support roles. This is what they call the tooth to tail ratio, right? How many fighters to how many support roles. And this statistic is very inexact. It also varies widely from war to war, but this is kind of a median. Okay, for every one movie star, you've got this many other things, right? Man, our live demo is getting blown. That's all right. And then you go to buy a house. Anybody want to guess what happens next? Yeah. Just crying, yeah. And then, of course, repairing. All those repairs. So much for the image generation. That's all right. So everybody accepts this principle in life that the one thing you want or you're trying to do is just a piece of the total. So in my experience, whether it's a client or a stakeholder or whoever, typically doesn't reject that when it comes to AWS. They just don't know it, or they don't know what they don't know, or how to look for it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And this is not $1 million idea, right? This whole thing is not, it's not any kind of special sauce that I have. It's just simply a framework around which you can think about this. And if I start with the second one, the workload, that's probably what you came to AWS to do. And most of the talks here today are really deep dives on that workload, getting really technical. What we're going to talk about are all the things before it, around it, and after it. So what comes before it, right? Before EKS goes into the cloud, before you write the Lambda, what should exist hopefully before that? What goes around it? You know, think about quality. Okay, I wrote it, but is the thing working well? This answers that question. And then afterwards, okay, the oil change, the new tires every 80,000 miles, right? Those type of things. And because it's a community event and we're here to learn and everybody learns differently, we have a mnemonic because you can't do anything on a slideshow without a good mnemonic. All right, let's get into it. What's one of the first thing you notice as we go to the right here? It's that services become non-AWS. And that's been typical in my experience, right? That before your workload goes into AWS, typically you're interacting with tools and platforms outside of AWS. Now, not all the time. And again, these are not exactly chronological, but in my opinion, they are in order of most to least importance. So what do these give you? Do you know a person, or are you the kind of person whose desktop is covered in loose files? Do we have any people here? No judgment? Okay. What's wrong with you people? I lied. I am judging. You know? Imagine this as a solution to that. You know? Just like operating systems give you files and permission levels, right? And some people choose not to use them. No judgment. Right? That's what this is here. If you start a one-person company, you get to choose what programs you install on the laptop. When you work for a 1,000-person company, IT manager somewhere else gets to choose, right? That's what this is. Who can do what, where, and when? Governance. Security is self-explanatory, but I'll illustrate this for you. Security in AWS is holistic in the sense that it's looking at the things you put into the cloud, the code you wrote, the artifacts you built. It's looking at the state of resources, the configuration thereof. And then it's looking at stuff from the outside as well. Who's getting in, who's accessing what. So we want to see through all those different layers, and there are different tools to provide that. The last two, I think the value proposition for those is hopefully well enough known. So I'll skip those, but I'm certainly happy to speak with anybody afterwards about those. So the pre-workload, if we had a perfect world, and we don't always, before EKS, we do all this. Let's do this too. Any contributions that anybody has before your workloads? Anything else that you guys add? It's almost like the discovery, figuring out what these things are in those conversations. Sure. Cool. Okay, then comes your workload. And after your workload, or with your workload, it's all these things, the para workload. Now, same thing, you'll notice a lot of icons that are not AWS. And it's not because they don't offer solutions for these. For example, Lambda or CloudWatch, right? You can perform a lot of testing there, but there are as many or more off-the-shelf alternatives that typically folks will use. So what do these things answer? Well, to me, they answer a question of reduction. That's what I think good qualities of this is about reducing. How do I reduce the regression? Okay? Reduce the impact of an outage. Reduce the time to recover from an outage. How do I reduce the time it takes to figure out what the heck's going wrong? How do I reduce confusion? You know, tribal knowledge, those kinds of things. This is about basically unencumbering your workload. Your workload is where the business value is. That's why you came to AWS to begin with. But without these, it could either trip and fall. It could be kind of stuck in the mud, you know? These things basically lift your workload out of the mud so it can do what it's meant to do without worrying about the rest. Okay, and then after the workload, what keeps it running long? Okay? And you'll notice again, we got fewer and fewer AWS services here. This is stuff that, again, in my experience, people typically think of this is maybe your managed services, right? The long tail of maintaining something. People do think about this more often than they think about the pre and the para workload. So this stuff's more intuitive. Do you have more features to develop? Okay. If you set up the security tooling, who's going to answer when it finds something critical? Right? That's somebody's time. Runtime upgrades, database upgrades, things like that. And managing the cost. Now you might say, hey, cost doesn't have anything to do with running long. It does in the sense that if the value isn't there, you're going to turn it off. So indirectly, I'd say, yeah, cost is, in fact, part of that long tail of maintaining what you built. The care and feeding, basically. All right, let's go back and see what we missed. This is our Shelby GT, our young man buying his first car. Of course, he got shocked by all the other costs. This is not the Alf I remember, but this is, hey, I will say this. Bedrock recently, maybe in the last few months, retired some models that I think were maybe better at image generation. So what we get today is maybe not its best foot forward. This isn't the varsity team of image gen models. So, okay, if we didn't have wardrobe, if we didn't have craft services, and we didn't have a makeup department, your leading lady would have to do her own makeup, and that final kiss scene might look like this. And I'm interested to see how the computer printer turned out. Oh, look, he loves it. They've got memories together, the two of them.
That's what my printer looks like.
Now, this is better than some of the other ones. I've seen a lot where they had two left hands. So okay, what do I need? And I'm going to tell you, only omit something if you can articulate a reason to omit it. And specifically articulate that given the worst case scenario. And maybe you're saying to yourself, well, Drew, you kind of just boxed me in, and now you're kind of ushering me to say yes to all of this. I promise I'm not. Let's look at some examples. 3 to 5 nines of uptime, which is what they sell, is 0 to 45 minutes per month. If my AWS region goes down for 0 to 45 minutes per month, the lost sales are only negligible. Well, disaster recovery is probably overkill for you. Okay, that's a lot that we can take off the table. And specifically, disaster recovery is a continuum. It's not I have it or I don't. There are different levels of it that we can achieve. If my customer's personally identifiable information is exfiltrated, minimum penalties under GDPR are 10 million euros or 2% of my annual revenue. Well, I would like to invest a little bit in that, you know? So that's it. That's the framework. Again, not groundbreaking stuff, not earth-moving stuff, but it's something that helps to have a framework around which you can hang these thoughts in your head. I'd welcome any feedback.